Let's go to wine country. No, not that wine country. Somewhere a little sideways. How about Central Coast, California?
Wow, sweet and cool. Wow, sweet and cool. When we get together and do our thing.
Santa Barbara lies 2 hours north of LA. The Urban Wine Trail is a mixture of industrial facilities, quaint restaurants, and residential homes, and helps to consolidate options for the wine tourist. Small in-house facilities translate to small productions and are reminiscent of how Napa and Sonoma might have been in the 1970s. Pinot Noir and Chardonnay reign supreme here, but wineries are also producing sweet and dry Riesling, Grenache, Cinsault, Counoise, Syrah, and Cabernet, very successfully with a non-snooty attitude, although there was one varietal that was not in abundance.
If they want to drink Merlot, we're drinking Merlot. No, if anybody orders Merlot, I'm leaving. I am not drinking any fucking Merlot! Just bring your Xanax.
Stoltman Vineyards sports a wine tasting room in Los Olivos. Their gorgeous organic vineyards are 15 minutes from that, and then their production facility is 30 minutes from the vineyards in the Lompoc Wine Ghetto. The Wine Ghetto was created as a co-op so that wineries can share ideas and equipment. Plus, it's a cheaper license to produce in an industrial park.
This is Aaron.
Hi.
What's your official title, Aaron?
I'm the assistant winemaker.
Okay, all right.
So I've worked with puncheons, which are 500-liter barrels, and then
That's a
these are two. So they're two of the small barrels.
Okay.
Puncheons are, and then we have the cigars, which are 265 liter.
Okay.
So they're just actually a tiny bit larger than a regular sized barrel.
And
But
the method behind it, yeah, right.
The difference in both the exposure of the wine to the wood, as well as how the wine can oxidize, if you will. That's not quite the right term, but as it can age, élevage, is different because the length of the cigar is so much longer. If you can see the length of the puncheon is only this long, maybe, I don't know, 4 feet, and then the length of the cigar is probably almost 4.5
Right.
5 feet. And so what happens is all of this is exposed to the wine, and then therefore the wine can extract more tannin effect. And so that we use cigars with our Syrah. We use mostly the puncheons with our Sangio and Roussanne.
These stackable square tanks are used as fermenters to control individual fermentation and have the best use of space. Again, this is an organic, sustainable vineyard producing amazing fruit. Note the metaphor here of a younger Don Juan Nolan driving his off-premise tractor, looking back at the on-premise weed cutter behind him. Yes, everyone in Los Olivos makes their own olive oil. Stoltman is a real gem in our portfolio that we've only scratched the surface of its potential. Fess Parker Winery, on the other hand, is a little more modern. Mr. Parker apparently made some money playing Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone in the mid-50s and purchased 700 acres in Santa Ynez Valley in 1989. He and his son Eli initially wanted to just grow and sell fruit, but now they produce 130,000 cases of wine.
The geometry is about 1-to-1, so they're about as wide as they are high.
Right.
And most of our Ashley's Pinot, our Biennacido Pinot, our Rodney's Syrah are fermented in these tanks. So these will hold 5 tons of grapes, and that 5 tons will produce about 900 gallons of wine. And then they'll go from here, and then we have different types of presses inside. And the 5-ton fermenters will all go into the basket press. An Australian basket press is a variation of your standard wood presses, except it's got an incredibly strong hydraulic piston to force the juice down. It does a very gentle press. It'll go from there into one of the tanks for settling, and then direct to barrel from there.
In 1982, the Paso Robles Appellation and Eberly Winery were born, and the mastermind of both was Gary Eberly. 30 years later, and still farming 40 acres of estate vineyards, Eberly produces 25,000 cases per year of affordable quality juice with varietals such as Sangiovese, Muscat Canelli, and Syrah. In fact, all of the Syrah planted in Paso comes from the first clone he planted there in the 70s. Eberly has 16,000 square feet of underground caves to store their wine, as well as host special wine dinners. And on the weekends, Gary and his wife Marcy are on the property hosting cookouts for guests who come to taste the fruits of their labor. Despite his success, Gary's never forgotten his Pennsylvania roots.
I'm going to tell everybody, because they're all UT fans. Penn State, baby! Yeah! You say Jopa!
He played for Joe Paterno in 1966 when Paterno was like 70 years old. Gary and his wife Marcy are gracious hosts, and Eberly is a mandatory stop in Paso. Visiting the Central Coast reminds you that wine is about passion, not just large production. But when visiting, remember.
Do not drink too much. Do you hear me? I don't want you passing out or going to the dark side. No going to the dark side.
Okay.